Okay. I think we're all set. What is good, everybody? It is the Godfather of VR. Adjust this arm. The ageless, one of the man Lincoln Clay. We are back for a live stream of a GT7 on the standard PS5. Going to check out Daily Race C on Circuit de la Sarthe. And jeez. God, I'm stuck in the middle. So my last 3 or 4 Breachers updated. My last 3 or 4 streams, as far as GT7 goes, relative to the PS5 Pro. Yeah, I brought out some mixed comments. And, you know, and unfortunately, I didn't answer the majority of those comments because for some of those comments, there was no short answer. But it did bring out a few fanboys, a few toxic fanboys. You know what? Just I thought it would be something that I would want to talk about relative to the PS5 and PS5 Pro. I really don't want to talk about it. All I'm gonna say about it and then kind of be done with it is that my last stream where I talked about where I returned the PS5 Pro, it was before the patch, before the GT7 patch, which I felt like it should have been ready day one when the PS5 Pro launched. It shouldn't have came exactly 14 days after, where people wouldn't be able to return them to retailers if they weren't happy with what they saw. So I thought that was a scumbag move by Sony. And there was a couple of things I saw on a couple of other games that solidified me returning the console. But right here, right now, relative to GT7, you know, some people were adamant about the PS5 Pro improvements, which is fine. Where I'm standing firm on is that both the PS5 and the PS5 Pro got a 32 gig patch. That patch did absolutely nothing for the PS5. The game already ran good in the first place, and not only did I not see any visual improvements, in some cases, some of these, a couple of these tracks looked downgraded, and Circuit de la Sarthe was one of them. And I dove back into the track earlier today just to make sure I wasn't seeing things, and no, that track looks downgraded. And some of the other tracks look okay, but yeah, a couple of them look downgraded. And people can say, well, that patch was for the Pro. It's not supposed to look good on the PS5, yada, yada, yada. That's fine. So if people want to come at me with that argument, then I counter that with, if the patch isn't meant for PS5 at all, then why would Sony put out a 32 gig patch for the PS5 along with the Pro? So I think that's about where I'll leave it, because it's just because the PS5 is such a mixed bag. There's going to be some pretty strong arguments from whatever side of the fence you stand on. So I'll just leave it at that. Let's jump into a daily race. I'm going to stick with the I'm going to stick with the 4 GT. Oh, you know what? I gotta qualify for this race because one thing I found out about this particular daily race is that people are bump drafting, and if you don't get behind that train and go with them, you're gonna get left behind. So at the very least, I have to set a qualifying lap so I can try to put myself in the middle of the pack. So this particular daily race is actually one race where people are working together instead of being dirty and taking each other out. So that's a surprise. 1 second, folks, while I get suited up. I gotta turn on the base shakers. All right. Let's go. I gotta check one more thing. Oh. Well, so much for that. I'm not going to do a whole lap. Just, yeah. Shit! All right. That's about as far as we're going to get. This race is going to start any second now. Look at those lap times. So there is a mandatory pit stop. I don't know whether I should come in on lap 1 or not. Well, I guess if I get caught up in a fight where I have a hard time getting past people, even if you get past people on this first lap, you're not going to be able to maintain it because everybody's just going to slipstream each other. I hate how many people are using the Ford GT on this particular daily race too. It happens to be one of my favorite cars, and it looks like it's a meta car. I don't know. I just don't want to get caught up in that fight, cause that was getting sticky.
Kevin Taki said, Lincoln, I played GT7 on the Pro yesterday for the first time. I saw no reprojection, and the slightest tearing on the tiny UI elements is extremely minimal. I think you'd love it.
So, from the videos that I've seen, there's no doubt that there's an improvement, but it seems to be, you know, everybody's talking about the trade-offs. They've seen, you know, the HUD looks pixelated. People were saying that the shadows underneath the car was pixelated. One guy, Mr. Deathwish, he said that the reprojection is still there, but what he noticed, oh shit, there's gonna be a penalty right there. But what he noticed was he saw reprojection in the front of the cars and on the bottom of the cars. So he believes that the reprojection is still there. It's just that he feels that it's been moved around. So what I'm saying is that if I were to get a Pro, I will not spend the full $700 for it. I will, you know, because the Pro that I did have, when I bought the Pro, I bought it outright for $700. I won't do that again. If I get a Pro, I would have to I would have to sell my PS5 and get as much money as I can for it. Because I don't feel like that, especially with the other.
Trust me, I know you'll love it.
So
get it and return it if you don't like it. But I know you'll love it, even at $700.
So, I guess, like, I'm not saying that I don't think it's worth the $700. What I'm saying is that I can't buy it for $700 again and then still keep this PS5. It's just... Oh, I forgot about that penalty. I can tell you right now with the PS5, it is hard to see the edges of the track because this is blurry. Make no mistake about it. And then there's another penalty. here he comes. Is he going to give me a bump or is he going to overtake me? Oh, ain't that something? He overtakes me and wants me to come and bump him. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit?
Kevin Taki. He said, you are the GT7 PSVR 2 guy. You have to test it to let the people know the truth. Good or bad.
Honestly, I gave people what I gave them my honest opinion. Okay, I'll tell you what after this race. And, you know, it still goes down, it still boils down to what I said before. That I'm not going to say that I'll never get a PS5 Pro. I will say that
on GT7.
So I'm trying to concentrate here. When I get to the straights again, then I'll tell you where I'm at with that. Oh! Here comes another damn penalty. Oh, Christ. Alright, so this race is screwed. So the situation that would make me get a PS5 Pro is if I can get close to $300 for my PS5 and then my Visa credit card, I get reward points for that. And I always use my reward points to get prepaid credit cards. And I usually get them like in $100 increments. So I usually get those about, I don't know, maybe 3-4 times a year. So, and it happens every time I get 10,000 points. So I'm coming up on 10,000 points again. Damn, that penalty is a backbreaker. And I got this car closing in on me. My best hope is that he won't be able to keep up with me through these, I think what might be the Porsche curves. I'm not going to push him here. Not necessarily. Those penalties killed me because I think I got hit with 3 penalties. Not only that, I'm not sure I had the best strategy either. I might have been better off staying with everybody else in bump drafting. What's that? Wait a minute. Just a second, because I know where you're going with that. Okay, so do I have lenses on my PSVR 2? No, I do not. But I'm wearing glasses underneath. And not only that.
The tech gentleman said, "What's up, bruh, fellow PSVR 2 user? New to your channel and appreciate your honest takes."
Appreciate it, thank you.
Said, PSVR channels say devs are saying the games are doing better on PlayStation, so you agree? The war with Meta vs PSVR is real.
It's ironic that you use the word Meta because I was about to answer a question. I'm holding here a Meta Quest Pro with pancake lenses.
Fanatec said, "Okay, glasses are good."
This Meta Quest Pro has pancake lenses. This headset is the clearest headset I have ever worn. Telling it like it is, the Fresnel lenses of the PSVR 2 are dated. They are outdated. Pancake lenses are pretty much the norm. That being said, PSVR 2 is behind the industry. If you guys think that PSVR 2 looks this good,
said, PSVR 2 is the only headset I need lenses.
That being said, if PSVR 2 were to charge, if they had pancake lenses and they were to charge the same $600 for the headset, I would have recommended that headset hands down, because if you think these games look this good through the PSVR 2 now, your mind will be blown when you see what it looks, what a game looks like through these pancake lenses. We are talking edge to edge clarity from this end to that end, up, down, everything is clear.
Said, "I have a Quest 3 too."
Okay, so you are aware of the pancake lenses then. And then as far as that goes, if you have a Quest 3 or a Quest Pro or any headset with pancake or spheric lenses, the game will look as good as the PC itself. I've got 4 PCs with my top PC having a 4090 in it. I pretty much run all of my sim racing games. If I want to, I can run them all at epic settings, but I run them at medium settings so I can have the extra overhead to allocate towards streaming.
Yeah, the sweet spot is super small in the PSVR 2.
With headsets like the MetaQuest Pro in the Quest 3, there is no sweet spot. Once you get the headset to where you want it, it's edge to edge clarity. There is no sweet spot. There is no looking to the right and seeing a smudge or seeing a blur. Everything is just clear. So what I was about to say is that, I've got 4 PCs with my top PC having a 4090. I can run all of my sim racing games at epic settings at over 3000p. I've gone as high as 4000p with some of my games. But for the most part, I run most of my games at 3300p at 90 frames per second, and it's not reprojected. It is 90 native frames. Therefore, I have no ghosting. I see no ghosting. Everything is clear. When I go around corners, I don't see the trees turning into a green blur. And that's just the bottom line. If you want that kind of stuff, you got to pay for it. So when it comes to flat screen games, people can make a case. Oh, my $400 console versus your PC. Yeah, they can.
Said, "I do prefer the PSVR 2 for PC though. The colors, blacks, and brightness just makes everything more vivid for me. I have 4092.
So yeah, so it's going to look good. But I would counter that with, in addition to the pancake lenses of this Quest Pro, it also has many LED panels, dual LED panels, and because of that, the blacks are comparable to an OLED panel. So I get good blacks, but I get a much clearer picture. And then there is no HDR on PC. So the only way you're going to get HDR in VR is to use the PSVR 2 headset on the PS5 or the PS5 Pro. I do have the PC adapter. I just had way too many problems with it. I couldn't get it, you know, and I tried it on all four of my PCs.
Said, nice.
I've tried it on all four of my PCs. You know, one of the PCs, the controllers didn't want to work right. Another one of the PCs is it didn't want to boot up.
Have you used the PSVR 2 on PC yet? I just built a PC and I'm curious how well it works without the eye tracking.
I'm not the person to talk to on that because as I was in the middle of saying, I've got 4 PCs. And so let me, you know, and I've said this a million times to people, but let me break it down. My top PC has a 4090 in it. My secondary PC has a 3080 Ti. My third PC has a 3070 Ti, and my fourth PC has a 2070. I've tried the PC adapter on all 4 PCs, and the experience was bad on every one of those PCs. One of the PCs, the 4090, I couldn't even get past the setup phase. I couldn't even get it set up to try it. That's out. I go to the 3080 Ti. I go to that PC, and I don't think it looked that good. The colors was there, but I don't think it looked that good. And I had to use a Bluetooth adapter for the tracking. That was suspect. Then I take it over to the 3070. It looks worse. Same deal with the tracking. Then the 20
said, wow.
Then the fourth PC has a 2070 in it, and it has the USB-C port on the graphics card. So I was able to plug it directly into that PC without using the PC adapter, and it ran okay. It ran okay, but it didn't look that good. And that's to be expected when you're using a 2070, because by today's standards, a 2070 is a pretty weak PC unless you're using it to play Pac-Man. So Kevin T, coming back to that thing about the PS5 Pro, I'll say this, that if I can get around $300 for my PS5, and then I should be getting a prepaid credit card from Visa here pretty soon, which that'll be $100. And then my
Key said, haha.
Yeah, definitely. And then my brother, for the past few years, has given me cash for Christmas because he doesn't really know what to get me, so he just gives me cash. And he's hinted at doing the same thing this year. Last year, he gave me $200 for Christmas. So what I'm saying is, if I can get $300 for my PS3, plus the $100 prepaid credit card that I'll have coming, along with cash that my brother may give me for Christmas, then I would entertain going back and getting another PS5 Pro. Because at that point, I would only come out of pocket $100 or $200. So that, in that instance, yeah, I would possibly entertain going back and getting a PS5 Pro, but I won't spend $700 for it outright again. So
Kevin Taki said, I say get it just to try it. If you like it, return it still and get it again in the future.
So I don't doubt as far as GT7 goes, because, like, I'll say this, in my opinion, for Resident Evil 4 Remake, that patch did absolutely nothing, the Pro version, because I think that patch was like, shit, I want to say like 16, 18, maybe 20 something gigs. That That patch was on both the PS5 and the PS5 Pro. Now, before I returned my PS5 Pro, I sat up that Sunday morning for like 5 hours, bouncing around like 5 different games. You know, checking out Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 4 Remake, GT7, and a couple of other games that weren't patched, so scratch those. Coming back to Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Kevin Taki said, I have only tried GT7.
Okay, so listen to what I'm going to say here. I tried Resident Evil 4 Remake on both the PS5 Pro and the PS5, and they looked exactly the same. They ran exactly the same. Both of them still had reprojection, although because of how slow the game moves, the reprojection wasn't bad. I tried Resident Evil Village, and to me, it seemed exactly the same as the PS5. The reprojection was still fairly bad on there. I did not see any graphical improvements. And then there was No Man's Sky. I tried that on both the PS5 and the PS5 Pro. What I saw on the PS5, it didn't look all that bad. There was a little bit of aliasing, but the reprojection was still noticeable. When you're walking around on the ground, the reprojection wasn't that bad. But when you got in your ship and you started flying around, yeah, you saw the reprojection. It was there. I come back to the PS5, and the PS5 of No Man's Sky on PSVR 2 looked like dog shit. I mean, there was so much glittering from the aliasing. I thought it was Christmas decorations. And so that brings us back to GT7. This is before the patch. I barely saw any difference between the PS5 and the PS5 Pro. So what made me return the Pro was because of what I saw with Resident Evil Remake.
Kevin Taki said, wish Sony would give a 30% resolution boost to all PSVR 2 games by default, like the Quest 3 does for Quest 2 games. Sony, please.
Yeah, agreed. So what I'm saying is, because the Resident Evil 4 Remake, even though both of them got a patch, they still looked exactly the same. So I was led to believe that a Pro patch, well, a patch on both the PS5 and the PS5 Pro for GT7, I was led to believe that they were going to look exactly the same, and I was not going to get caught by the 14-day return window, because I said this before, and I still hold my ground that I think this was a scumbag move by Sony to wait exactly 14 days to release a patch for GT7, because that puts you out of the 14-day return window with retailers. So GT7 is Sony's flagship game. This is their, as far as PSVR 2, this is their flagship game. This is the game that Sony, like, whenever they would show the 4K, the HDR and all that shit, this was the game that Sony was showcasing to everybody. So with this game being your flagship game on both flat screen and PSVR 2, how is a patch not ready day one on the day that the Pro launches? Why did we have to wait exactly 14 days after the console launched? I think that is because it was a scumbag move by Sony. I think they waited exactly 14 days to release that patch. So if anybody downloads that patch and they don't like what they see, it's too late. You can't return the console because you're out of the 14-day window. There is no way that patch should have been ready day one. Sony said they started working, they started developing.
Uncovered said, I never even thought of that. That is so true.
Sony had already admitted that they started working on the PS4 Pro before the PS5 was done. So the PS5 Pro has been in the works for years. So how does this patch not be ready day one when the console launches? And it's a Sony exclusive. I would understand if GT7 was a third-party game. I would understand if the patch isn't ready day one. But this is a Sony exclusive. It is their flagship title. How is the patch not ready day one? That was another reason why I returned the Pro, because I wanted to return it while I was still inside of the 14-day return window. Now, after Christmas, after I pool all of my resources, you know, with the prepaid credit card, whatever my brother gives me for Christmas, along with trading in my PS5, then yeah, I will entertain getting a Pro again.
Eric McCready said, Godfather of VR, good morning brother, I understand returning the Pro, I did so as well just under the deadline. Kevin Taki said, Horizon got no patch either.
And it still looks the same.
Pro Sim Racing said, I thought that was wild. No Man's Sky had a day one patch but not GT7.
Yeah, there you go, Dale. How in the hell do third party have patches ready before Polyphony Digital does, the flagship title? Okay, over on the Xbox side, if they make a Xbox Series X Pro,
Kevin Taki said, hopefully by Christmas games will have gotten more substantial PSVR 2 updates.
Okay, hold on to that thought, Kevin. If Microsoft would have made an Xbox Series X Pro, as far as day one patches, you would have expected Halo, Gears, and Forza to have day one patches. If those games don't have day one patches, you're going to be like, what the hell is this? How come we got to wait for patches?
Cars Uncovered said, I notice a difference and am keeping my Pro. Not a huge graphical difference, just in terms of how smooth it is while driving in GT7. The drop in blur makes it worth it to me. And
that was my main concern, was the blur. I did not expect to see graphical improvements. I just wanted the blur to be gone, because I can tell you from being on PC, you know, I'm used to eating caviar, as the saying might goes, because with PC, regardless of how powerful your PC is or lack thereof, you still have the choice of going with a native frame rate or using some type of DLSS or some type of upscaler. The choice is yours. With PS5 Pro, it seems like it's being too much of a mixed bag. I'm starting to hear and see some of these videos where the Pro version actually looks worse than the PS5 version, and some people have opted to turn off PSSR. Now, Kevin, coming back to you, you were saying that you hope by Christmas you'll see better patches with on the PSVR 2 updates. I've said this on one of my previous streams. Be careful, because I've said this before about the PS3. Sony is a hardware company. So if the problems with PSSR are hardware related, they will not get fixed until the PS6 comes out. This happened with the PS3. With the PS3 did not have party chat, whereas the Xbox 360 did have party chat. The PS3 only had in-game voice chat. So if you wanted to chat with all your friends, you all had to pop in the same game, meet up, team up on the same team, and then chat that way. That wasn't the case with Xbox 360. All of your friends can be playing different games, but you're all still in that same chat. Whether you're at the dashboard or whether your friends are all playing different games or doing different stuff, the party chat remains intact. Sony teased everybody for months because people were wanting voice chat, party chat on the PS3. And every time an update was about to come out, Sony would make these big announcements, how they made, graphical improvements, how it runs smoother, stability improvements, yada, 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 but no mention of party chat. Every one of these updates, after a while, it became obvious that the PS3 was not going to get party chat. When the PS4 came out, it did have party chat. And I read an article in a gaming magazine where Sony finally came out and admitted that the PS3 did not have party chat because the hardware made it physically impossible to implement party chat. So that was a hardware issue. I'm saying that the same thing could apply here. If PSSR is a hardware, if the problems with PSSR is hardware based, updates and patches won't fix it. The problem won't be fixed until the PS6 comes out. If the problems with PSSR are software related, then yes, it might take a while, but they should be able to fix it with patches. God knows how much broken shit Microsoft releases with the Windows operating system. But over the years, it does get fixed after they run out 371 patches. So coming back to me possibly getting a Pro, again, if with me pooling all my resources, trading in my PS5, the Visa prepaid card along with whatever I get for Christmas, once I pool all those resources and I end up getting a Pro, there's no turning back. I will keep it regardless of whatever I think of it, because at least if it ends up still looking like dog shit, I'll still have the option of turning off the PSSR. But coming back to the PS5, I do stand my ground that I think some aspects of some of the games on PS5 may have been downgraded to widen the gap between the PS5 and the PS5 Pro, so you'll be able to tell the difference with the naked eye.
Kevin Taki said, I'm not even interested in PSSR. Pro GPU is said to be 45% faster than OG PS5, just that plus eye tracking should be good enough to eliminate reprojection, or sharper image.
It's not going to eliminate the reprojection, because reprojection is just a different way of saying FSR. GT7 and a lot of the games on PS5 and even PS5 Pro runs at 60 native frames. So to make my point, let's just stick with GT7. On PSVR 2, GT7 runs at 120 frames. 60 of those frames are real, 60 of those frames are fake. The fake frames are inserted in between the real frames, because what it's doing with the fake frames, it's taking the previous frame and it's trying to anticipate what the next frame is going to look like and try to create an image from that. And that's why you have all this ghosting and blur and all this shit, because the console is still trying to figure out what's it supposed to look like. And so that being said, reprojection is not going away. You can sharpen the picture, but you're not getting rid of that reprojection, because the bottom line is the PS5 does not have enough power to run games at a native 90 frames per second. When it comes to VR, if you want a smooth experience without any blur, reprojection, asynchronous space warp as they have on the Meta platform, the minimum is 90 frames per second native. With the Meta platform, if you use the asynchronous space warp, where it does the same thing, where it inserts fake frames in between the real frames, their technique is better than the reprojection on PlayStation.
Kevin Taki said, might not be able to hit 120, but can hit 90.
I don't.
Native 120 RN on flash screen.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Kevin Taki said, flat.
Yeah, flat. It can hit 120 flat. It can hit 60 flat. It can even do 90 flat if they set it to do that. But for VR, it cannot do 90 native, because running a sim game in VR is taxing. It taxes the absolute shit out of the hardware. Microsoft Flight Simulator is a prime example. Before that game even got VR support, people when the 3090 was the most powerful GPU out there, people had to use DLSS just to get 60 frames out of Microsoft Flight Simulator on PC.
Said, with a 45% GPU boost.
Well, the 45% GPU boost isn't going to do anything as far as the frames goes, because it's still going to run at 190. It's still going to run at 120 frames, reprojected. It's just a matter of whether that 45% GPU boost can sharpen the picture and minimize the blur. So there you have it there. But from some of these Digital Foundry videos that I've been seeing and stuff like that, you might have a game that's running at, this hitting like 50 frames per second on the PS5. It's
said, it makes a difference on PC.
Oh yeah, it makes a huge difference on PC.
Said, it's like having a Lombo but not being able to shift past 4th gear, LOL.
That's one way of putting it. Digital Foundry have been doing these comparisons, and you might see a game run at 50 frames per second on the Xbox Series X. It'll run at 52 frames per second on the PS5 and run at like 55, 56 frames per second on the Pro. So some of these games, you're only gaining like 2, 3, 4 extra frames. So it is because of stuff like that that makes the Pro such a mixed bag. So and that's where I stand with the Pro, that it sounds like a mixed bag. I'm not saying that, it doesn't seem like every game is benefiting from the extra horsepower, but not every game looks like dog shit either. It seems to be a case-by-case basis. Some people are reporting the games look absolutely wonderful. Some people are reporting the games look worse. So bottom line is, if I get a Pro and I spend $700 and I don't like what I see, I'll return it again.
Kevin Taki said, the Digital Foundry GT7 video says the Pro version for PSVR 2 is undoubtedly better.
They did, but I also seen a lot of people say that yes, it does look better, it does run smoother, but they're talking about the artifacting around the HUD, or underneath the bottom of the car, on the shadows. They're still seeing some slight reprojection. So out of all the people that I've seen talk about the improvements to PSVR 2 relative to GT7, the one person that I trust is my friend Gamertag. Now, remember, I got rid of my PS5 Pro before the patch. He got a PS5 Pro before the patch, and he said he didn't see any difference between PS5 and PS5 Pro. But then he came back and tried it again after the patch, and he said yes, he said he did. It did look sharper, it did run smoother. The blur was reduced, but he said he still saw some slight reprojection, and he saw some artifacting in different parts of the screen with the HUD and in other parts of the screen. So basically it sounded like a trade-off.
Kevin Taki said, what do you see though, Clay? That's the only opinion that matters, smiling face with sunglasses.
I'm not a good person to ask on that, because my thoughts on GT7 PS5 compared to PS5 Pro.
Said, Gamertag nailed it, describing mirage effect.
Yeah, talking about the placebo. And that's why I spent hours and hours and hours before I returned it doing a comparison, because I wanted to make sure that the slight improvements that I thought I saw wasn't placebo. But Kevin, I'm not the person to ask what my opinion is, because my opinions of what I saw on GT7 was before the patch. The only thing that I can say about GT7 after the patch is that some parts of GT7 on PS5 looks downgraded. I can't speak to what it, I can't give an opinion of what it looks like on a Pro, being that I don't have a Pro anymore. All I can do is just go by what other people were saying, and again, out of all the other people that spoke about it, Gamertag is the only one that I trust.
Shumi said, artifacts on edges of new reprojection.
Mm-hmm. So that goes back to this guy, Mr. Deathwish, that I mentioned earlier. His opinion was that yes, it was clearer, it was smoother, but he still saw reprojection on the bottom of the cars, on the front of the cars as he was passing them, and around the HUD area. So his take was that he felt like the reprojection was still there, but it was moved. They repositioned it. And I think that's probably why they call it reprojection. I think what they've done, so to speak, is made a wider sweet spot. So everything within that sweet spot is clearer and smoother, and everything outside of that wider sweet spot is artifacting and still might be slightly blurry and still reprojected. It's still noticeably reprojected. That's what I've seen to take from it. So long and short of it is, if I do get another PS5 Pro, it will happen after Christmas. So I'm glad we had this conversation, though, everybody. I really appreciate this conversation, because if I was going to, I didn't want to talk about the PS5 Pro, but hey, we ended up going there. But I think we had a healthy conversation. I think everybody was able to have their opinion without any fanboyism and without any console warring. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. And I made it a point not to put it in the title, because I didn't want to make it sound like I was tearing down the PS5 Pro, because there was some people, in my opinion,
said, "Sorry, Clay."
No, it's fine. I mean, we had that conversation. I just didn't want to be the one to start it. So at the beginning of the stream, I gave my quick little tidbits, and like, okay, it's time to race. So no, don't be sorry. I don't, I'm cool that we had this conversation, because to me, it wasn't a situation of me just giving my opinion. Everybody chimed in and they, gave their opinion. Hey, some of you guys said it looked better. Some, there was somebody in here that said they returned theirs, yada, yada. I just, my biggest takeaway from this conversation, I think everything that we talked about is probably subjective, and I just think
said, I'd still probably use new repro if the HUDs weren't messed up. Kevin Taki said, it's hard for others to have constructive criticism when they can only get one headset. So don't take the BS to heart, they're frustrated.
Possibly. But and that's the thing about it. When people come in, you don't know what you're talking about, yada yada yada. I'm like, I've been doing VR since 2016. Said it before. Right now in this apartment, I've got actually I've got 5 PCs. One of them is basically an office computer. But as far as gaming PCs goes, I've got 4 gaming PCs, a PS5.
Kevin Taki said. Asterisk discussions.
Yeah. A PS5.
Midlife Beckett said. There is a big comfort difference with the Pro being easier on the eyes to me. It's just a lot smoother.
And I don't contest that either, because I'm not in a place to contest it, because you know the patch is out and I no longer have a PS5 Pro. I also have an Xbox Series S, but in as far as headsets goes, right now I've got the PSVR 1, I've got two Quest Pros. I showed you guys one of them. The other one is in the room that my son's using. I guess if you want to include the Quest 3 that I gave my son, I've got two Quest 3s. And then the Quest 2s, when those came out, I bought 3 of them. One for me, and 2 for me, and 1 for my son. And I gave one of those Quest 2s away, so I still have a Quest 2. I also have a HP Reverb G2. So, like, as far as what's sitting in this apartment right now, I got a PSVR 2, 2 Quest Pros, a Quest 3, a Quest 2. I forgot a Rift S and the HP Reverb G2. So at the moment, I have 7 headsets in this apartment.
Eric McCready said, "The Godfather for real." Kevin Taki said, "You know what you are talking about. Even technical channels like Digital Foundry don't have as much VR knowledge as you. You just have your opinions/preferences."
Exactly. Thank you. So like, I bought the original PSVR 1. I bought 2 of those. No, take it back. I bought let me break this down. I bought the original PSVR 1. I ended up giving that one to Craig Harris. And I ended up buying a second PSVR 1. That one eventually took a crap, and I bought a third PSVR 1, which I ended up sending to my friend Fatal Mephisto in Canada. And then I bought a fourth PSVR 1 for my female friend Titanfall Princess. And that one, you know, like, I never used that one. I just bought it. I just bought a refurbished one and sent it straight to her. So the original PSVR 1, I bought 4 of them. The Oculus Rift CV1, when that came out, I bought 1 of those. When the Oculus Rift came out, the Oculus Rift S, I bought 2 of those. 1 for me, 1 for my son. When the original Oculus Quest came out, I bought 1 of those for my son. And then again, coming back to the Oculus Quest 2, I bought 3 of those. 2 for me, 1 for my son. Quest Pro, bought 2 of those. Quest 3, bought 2 of those. HP Reverb G2, bought 1 of those. So yeah, I've had a lot of headsets. So when I had people coming into my comments saying you don't know what you're talking about, yada yada yada, I didn't even respond. So that being said, yeah, my past 3 or 4 GT7 streams, there was a lot of mixed opinions in the comment section, and I only responded to a couple of them. So the ones that came in there fiercely defending, you know, their point, I'll put it that way, I didn't answer them. So, and that was another reason why I did not put anything PS5 Pro related in the headline of this stream, because you know, it was going to draw some firm opinions in the comments after the stream. So yeah, I
Midlife Eket said, I was about to sell my PSVR 2, but after playing GT7 and Kayak VR on the Pro, I decided to see what the future holds. Kayak VR looks better on the Pro now than my high-end PC.
Okay. I don't know what kind of PC you have, but I did buy Kayak VR, and I took a look at it on my 4090 on my Quest Pro, and I saw no reason to buy it on PSVR 2. And the reason I'll tell you this, the reason I'll tell you why.
Kevin Taki said, being a YouTube content creator is impossible for mental health. Best you can do is take the good and leave the bad.
Believe me, you Kevin, one of my brothers, if you open up the dictionary and look up the term asshole, you'll see his picture. We fought like cats and dogs for years. It reached the point where I said, if one of us don't walk away, one of us is gonna die. And I chose to walk away. And so whenever he starts getting drunk, getting loud and shit like that, I just leave. So already had thick skin before I came to YouTube, growing up having to, when you got two personalities, this fire and ice always colliding.
Kevin Taki said, ha ha ha.
Yeah, so I already had thick skin coming into before I even became a content creator.
Kevin Taki said, oh damn, sorry.
Nothing to be sorry for. That's what happens with siblings. The kids got different personalities. Sometimes it leads to them fighting. Sometimes it just leads to them being civil and respecting each other's opinions. So I mean I get along with that brother now, but it took me walking away from him and refusing to speak to him for 2 years before we finally got where we could get to a point where if we're having a discussion that he'll respect my opinion and I'll respect his.
Kevin Taki said, my brother is hard to handle too.
Yeah.
Midlife Eket said, when consoles get close to PC levels, it's a no-brainer the ease of plug and play and optimization that can be done on consoles.
This is true, but the trade-off is you get what you get on consoles. You don't have a lot of options. With PS5 Pro, you can either choose fidelity with 30 frames per second, or you can choose performance, which is 60 frames per second, and you're going to see the downgrade in the graphics. With PC, you can manipulate all that stuff because you have so many settings at your disposal. So yeah, PC is a bigger headache, but in my opinion, it also has bigger benefits. So coming back to what I was going to say about Kayak VR. So Red Matter 2. Red Matter 2 is one of the best looking games on PSVR 2.
Kevin Taki said, but if you can afford both, it's also a no-brainer to play on what you like.
Absolutely. So Red Matter 2, I've tested it on a variety of headsets. I've tested it on a Quest 2. I've tested it on a Quest 3 because it got the Quest 3 patch. I've tested it on PSVR 2. And I've tested it on PC with my Quest Pro as a PC headset on the 4090. In this order, the PC on my 4090 no doubt looked the best. The picture was just ultra sharp. Then this is the part that some people may not like, but PSVR 2 and Quest 3 was almost a tie. The PSVR 2 looked that much better than the Quest 3. because that Quest 3 patch on Red Matter 2 was amazing. I bullshit you not. Red Matter 2 on the Quest 3 looks like PC shit. It looks like PC. Just not as sharp. So yeah, PSVR 2 and Quest 3 was really close. The Quest 2 still looked good, but you definitely could see the drop off from from the other headsets. And that's why when I bought Kayak for PC, I saw no point in buying it for the PSVR 2 because I think it was going to be a given that it was going to look better on PC.
Said, Red Matter 2 for me looks way better on PSVR 2 due to the lighting and looks super sharp compared to Quest 3/Reverb G2 on 4090.
Okay, now that being said,
Kevin said HDR.
Okay, yeah, you got a good point with the HDR. But in terms of the sharpness and the colors, I think that Red Matter 2 would have looked much better if you would have seen it on a headset like possibly like the Pimax Crystal or the Viro Aero or even this Quest Pro, because they have dual panels. I think they so, like I said earlier about the Quest Pro, it's got LED panels, whereas the Quest 3 has LCD panels. That being said, the colors on my Quest Pro look better than the colors on the Quest 3. But in all fairness, that is one of the things that really stands out about PSVR 2 is the colors. The colors are rich. Jesus, 12 o'clock. So, it's probably gonna be time for me to get ready to go because I think the F1 race is on right now, in Qatar. I don't know if this is the season finale or not. But yeah, I want to catch what's left of that race. And then in about an hour, I have to take my son home. But I'm off work tomorrow. So I will definitely come back and stream something this evening.
Said PS6 GT8 PSVR 3, 120 Hz native folded hands. Kevin Taki said, one day VR won't have these big trade-offs.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, well, with my
Kevin
main...
Taki said, love you, Clay. Be easy.
Love you too, bro. Appreciate it. Right now, as far as trade-offs goes, like with my 4090 PC in this Quest Pro, the only trade-off that I'm dealing with is... Actually, no, I don't have any trade-offs. I got everything. I got beautiful colors. The mini LED panels gives me really good blacks. The power of the 4090 allows me to run all my games in VR at 90 or 120 frames per second native. So yeah, that being said, on PC, I don't feel like I don't have any trade-offs. The only compromise that I'm dealing with is the compromise that I put on myself, where I could easily run these games at epic or ultra settings, but I choose to run them at high or medium settings, so I have extra overhead left in case I have to open up other apps, OBS and stuff like that, because OBS taxes your PC too. So I want the extra overhead to be able to use on OBS and whatnot, because I mean my 4090 is strong enough to game and stream from the same PC, but I choose to use the two PC setup so I could send the shipping duties off, the streaming duties off to another PC. And that helps frees up resources on my main PC, which gives me the extra overhead to crank up the resolution to 35, 4000 if I want, to crank up the settings to high, epic, whatever I want. So no, to me, you as far as VR goes, as far as PC goes, you only have trade-offs if you have a mid or low range PC. If you're working with a 4090, I don't think there is any trade-offs. Especially if you're gaming on that PC with no like editing software like OBS or anything like that open and just strictly gaming, there is no compromises. So for me, the 5090, that's overkill. Anything that the 5090 is going to be able to do more than my 4090, I won't notice it. Being that I could already run VR games, because like when it comes to VR games, 120 frames pretty much seems to be the limit. That seems to be the cap. So if the 5090, naturally the 5090 is going to be able to run games higher than 120 frames per second, but I'm not going to be able to see it because it's capped. So the 5090 for me is going to be overkill. Now, my friend Ham, he's planning on getting a 5090 because he also has a tech channel and he does a lot of editing. So he said the 5090 will give him more power for editing. But from a gaming standpoint, no, a 5090 is overkill, especially if you don't do VR. If you only play games flat screen, I think a 3080 Ti is all you need. I don't think you need to go any higher than that because like you'll have the ability to run just
Kevin
about.
Taki said, sold my 4090 for 1800 to get ready for the 5090, which are supposed to release when I come back from vacation in January.
What are you gonna do with a 5090, man? I mean, don't get me wrong. It crossed my mind a couple of times because I'm thinking to myself, the $700 that I would use to buy a PS5 Pro, that could be allocated towards a 5090. But what am I gonna do with it?
Kevin Taki said, LOL.
What you basically did, going from a 4090 to a 5090, in my opinion, you basically just went from buying a Ferrari.
Kevin Taki said, no harm in upgrading.
No,
LOL.
no, absolutely nothing wrong with upgrading. The fact of the matter
Kevin
was,
Taki said, for free.
oh, good point. Good point. Can't argue with that. If I knew how to edit the way Ham does, I would consider a 5090. But strictly gaming, I think a 5090 is overkill. And as I was saying before, when it comes to flat screen games, I really do not think anybody needs a 4090. I think a 3080 Ti more than gets the job done. Case in point, Gears of War 5. Whenever I play that game, I play it at native 4K, and it's running at like at ultra settings, and it's running at almost 200 frames per second on a 3080 Ti. What are you gonna do with a 4090 playing a game like that? So yeah, as far as flat screen gaming goes, I stand by my guns that I don't think you need anything more than a 3080. The only bad thing about the 3000 cards is that they pour out a lot of heat. And that's one thing that makes the 4090 a wonderful, all the 4000 cards, that's what make them wonderful, is they can run circles around the 3000 cards and you don't feel any heat coming out of it. I've never felt any type of heat come out of my 4090 that felt like a volcano. It's been lukewarm at the most. Whereas my 3080, that shit can heat up an entire room in the middle of winter. But it is still a formidable CPU. So in my opinion, for those people who are building their first PC, especially if they're going to be playing flat games and they want a GPU that's gonna get the job done for years to come, I think the 3080 Ti is still a very, very good card.
Said, yeah, the 4090 runs every game.
Yeah, I got the 4090 Founders Edition. I mean, since, you know, I feel like since Nvidia was the one that created all this shit, their version, their hardware is probably going to be the best one. So I went with the shit. I got a ton of Founders Edition cards around here. Let me see here. Okay, so I bought, over the years, I bought 4 Founders Edition cards. The first one was a 3070. I gave that one to my son. One of my PCs that I mentioned has the 3070 Ti, the 3080 Ti, and my 4090. All of them are Founders Edition cards. Now my 2070, my PC with the 2070.
Kevin Taki said, Founders is the way to go.
Absolutely. Now my 2070 PC, that has the 2070 that was originally in my Alienware R9. So when that computer took a crap, I took the 2070 out of it and threw the rest of it in the garbage. and I took that 2070 and built another PC with it. So, I mean, this is it right here. So yeah, this is my 4th PC right here that has the 2070 in it, and basically, for a second when I was using that PC, I had 2 PCs connected and was doing the 3 monitor thing. I had a monitor here, and using my TV as a center monitor. And all that shit was drawing way too much power, and it blew out one of my one of the breakers on my fuse box. So I gotta, you know, this shit happened about a month ago, and I've been too lazy to get up off my ass. You know, about to try it on. Look good. All right. So, 12:20. Yeah, I got to get ready to go in about a half an hour to take my son home. So yeah, I really got to get my ass off and no Diddy and get ready to take my son home. But yeah, I promise I'll do another stream later on today. I don't know what I'll do. It could be Automobile Lista 2 again, because version 1.6 along with low fuel motorsports, I've been having an absolute ball with that. But it will be something. Don't know what it is. Hope to see you all there. And thanks for the conversation, everybody. Kevin, Midlife, Eric, appreciate all of you coming in, really do. And we'll hopefully see you later on this evening. Until then, you all know the line. Wakanda forever. Long live the king, and deuces. Have a good one, everybody.
Eric McCready said, our pleasure, brother. Great conversation. Kevin Taki said, by waving hand.